All right, let's talk about something we all deal with every week, the grocery bill. We're going to peel back the label and dig into the hidden economics that can make prices shoot up, often in ways that seem to make no sense at all.
You've probably seen this happen, right? The small, independent shop on the corner is clearly having a hard time. But then, all of a sudden, the prices at the giant chain supermarket start creeping up too. It feels totally random, but what if I told you those two things are directly connected? There's a fascinating economic story here.
So, to really get what's going on, we need to set the scene. Let's think of your neighborhood as a little marketplace with two main players fighting for your dollars. You've got the big, familiar chain supermarket, and you've got the smaller, local, independent market.
Now, at the start of our story, things are surprisingly fair. These two stores are competing, sure, but they're on a relatively even playing field. And the key to this balance is all about how they get the products you want onto their shelves in the first place.
In the beginning, they both use a system called direct store delivery, or DSD for short, and it's pretty much exactly what it sounds like. A manufacturer, let's say it's a big soda company, drives its truck and delivers its products directly to every single store. The big chain gets a delivery and the little guy gets a delivery. This direct pipeline keeps things pretty fair for everyone.
But then, something changes. A manufacturer decides to switch up its delivery strategy. Now, this might sound like a boring little logistical tweak, but trust me, this one decision is the first domino to fall in a chain reaction that's about to throw the whole market off balance.
In this slide just lays it out so clearly. On the left, you've got before. Everybody gets that direct delivery. It's a level playing field. But look at the after scenario on the right. The manufacturer decides it's not worth it to deliver to the little guys anymore. So now only the big chains get that efficient, direct service. The independent store, they're forced to go through a middleman, a third-party wholesaler, just to get the same products.
Okay, before we go any further, there's one super important economic idea we gotta know: marginal cost. Don't worry, it's simple. It's just the cost for a store to get one more thing on its shelf. The cost of one more bag of chips or one more carton of milk. That number is the absolute bedrock of the final price you end up paying.
So, keeping that idea of marginal cost in mind, let's see what this new delivery system does to our small independent store. This is where the squeeze really begins.
This breakdown says it all. The chain store's cost is nice and simple. The basic wholesale price plus a delivery fee. Done. But now look at the independent store. Oh, it's got extra layers. They pay the same wholesale price, but then they have to pay a fee to the wholesaler and they have to pay the wholesaler's own markup for profit. That last piece, that markup, is a brand new cost that only the little guy has to deal with. Economists call this an asymmetric cost shock, which is a fancy way of saying only one side got hit with higher costs. And when your costs suddenly jump, you don't have a lot of options. To cover those new expenses and just keep the lights on, the independent store has to do the one thing it probably doesn't want to do: raise its prices.
Okay, so that totally explains why prices go up at the local shop. But that was only half the mystery, right? Now we get to the part that's really wild. Why does the big chain store, whose costs haven't changed 1 single cent, also start charging you more?
I mean, this is the real head-scratcher. The chain's delivery is still cheap, it's still direct, so what gives? Is this just them being greedy? Well, the answer isn't in their costs, it's in the competition, or the new lack of it.
And there it is. The chain store raises its prices because it can. Its main competitor was just forced to become more expensive. And that means the big chain doesn't have to fight nearly as hard on price to win you over anymore. That constant pressure to keep prices as low as possible, it just evaporates.
So there's this economic principle that explains it perfectly. Think of it like this. The prices at the two stores are connected by a big invisible rubber band. When the independent store is forced to yank its price way up, that rubber band goes slack. All of a sudden, the chain store has a whole lot more room to raise its own prices and still look like the cheaper option, letting it rake in bigger profits.
So let's zoom out now and look at the final consequences of this one tiny change in a supply chain. What does this all mean for the neighborhood? And more importantly, what does it mean for your wallet?
The bottom line is, it's a loss for us, the shoppers. Economists have a term for this. They call it a decline in consumer welfare. That just means, plain and simple, that we are all worse off than we were before this whole thing started.
And here's what that actually looks like in the real world. You're paying higher prices at both stores. That independent store, which is already struggling, is now at a much higher risk of just closing down for good. And when that happens, you have fewer places to shop, which means less choice. And eventually, that can even mean less product variety for the whole community. So really, it leaves us with this final question. A decision that on paper looks like a smart, efficient move for a big company can send these ripples through an entire local market. It can weaken competition and ultimately make everyone pay more. It really makes you think about who truly benefits when a system is set up like this.